Former NFL exec exposes disconnect in NFL after Shedeur Sanders' first-round snub sends shockwaves. It was practically gospel before Thursday night. Shedeur Sanders, the Colorado sensation with NFL ancestry and a stellar resume that lists Big 12 dominance, was expected to be a top 10 lock. A passer with 4,000 yards? Yes. Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year? Yes. Son of Deion Sanders and built like a marketing goldmine? Ah, yes again. With 14,347 yards, 134 touchdowns, and a 71.8% career completion rate, his college stats were pure video game mania, making him one of the most statistically successful quarterbacks going into the draft. He shunned the Green Bay spotlight, skipped the NFL combine activities, and said on social media, "I'm built for whatever today may bring." He entered with assurance. The NFL baffled him and sent him home. But an experienced voice from within the league called it out, that something wasn't adding up. Andrew Brandt, a former NFL executive turned insider, lit up X with a post that doubled as a red flag. Such a disconnect between how some draft pundits rate Shedeur Sanders and how NFL teams rate Shedeur Sanders. Brandt's remark revealed a developing conflict between private assessment and public opinion. Sanders appeared to be a franchise dream on paper. On tape, polarizing. And in private, according to multiple unnamed scouts, problematic. Several league sources, many of whom expressed dissatisfaction with Shedeur's mood in interviews, were cited in Tom Pelissero's report days prior to the selection. A coach referred to his official session as the worst formal interview I've ever been in my life, pointing to poor body language and entitlement. An AFC executive added, "He wants to dictate what he's going to do and what's best for him. He makes you feel small." It's obvious that the NFL front offices and the Sanders camp weren't following the same strategy when you combine that with what his father, Coach Prime, himself, tweeted in May of last year, predicting Shedeur would be selected in the top 5. This disconnect indicates a cultural conflict rather than merely a disagreement in scouting ideology. The NFL still operates on the principles of hierarchy, humility, and team-first sound bites. And Shedeur? Well, everyone thinks he has an entitled attitude. The league is uncertain whether he would enter the building wearing a crown or a helmet. Draft day surprise. Shedeur Sanders' unexpected fall. It wasn't just startling by the end of round 1. It was seismic. Shedeur Sanders, who was originally predicted to be the first choice, never heard his name being called. Not by the Titans, who selected Cam Ward with the first overall pick. The Steelers, despite months of speculation, surprisingly passed at pick number 21. Not even by the New York Giants, who selected Jackson Dart. The atmosphere changed from one of joy to one of quiet in the living room back in Texas, where Shedeur had decided to watch the draft with relatives. "We all didn't expect this, of course," Sanders said afterwards in a video posted by his brother. "But I feel like with God, anything's possible. All this is, of course, fuel to the fire. Under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand, we're on to bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless." Shedeur's attitude remained composed, but the implications were not. Shedeur is now battling to be viewed as draftable rather than the face of a franchise. The problem is that this is nothing new. In 2013, Geno Smith was eliminated in round 1. Will Levis, 2023. Both came back with chips on their shoulders. Shedeur? Already, he sounds like a guy planning his return. If you're not trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me. If you have the franchise traits, then why wouldn't a franchise pick me? It's like a cheat code. The question now isn't if Sanders will be drafted. It's how long the NFL wants to keep pretending they're not watching. Because when round 2 starts, the Raiders, Browns, Saints, and Colts will all be on the clock, and so will their reputations. NFL drops final bombshell on Shedeur Sanders' draft after insider confirms Kellen Moore and Saints are 2 intentions: Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Travis Hunter, Tyler Booker, Tyler Suff, and who not. The NFL 2025 first round did not disappoint. But despite a blockbuster day 1, something did not feel right. Shedeur Sanders, who was projected to go big in the first round, went undrafted. Although it does not seem to affect Coach Prime's son, the 23-year-old was confident to make it in the first round itself. Under no circumstances did we all know this was going to happen, But we understand we on to bigger and better things, Sanders said after how the night turned out for him. Now, while Shedeur was still confident to get himself drafted in the second round, the former Colorado QB's wait now extends into the third round. And with the draft still unfolding, the latest developments hint at an even tougher road ahead for Sanders. Tomorrow's the day, Sanders said after facing rejection on day one of the ongoing draft. Now, every draft has its mystery player. And this time, Sanders is banking on himself. Although Ward and Dart are headed right where many predicted them in the first round, this is the first time since 2016 when teams held back on picking quarterbacks in round one. Now, even in the remaining class, Sanders has to be wary of Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, and a few others. But unlike the others, the unpredictability of Sanders' fate is through the roof. All the teams predicted to pick Sanders in the first round bailed on him. The Steelers have proceeded with Derek Harmon. The Giants went with Dart. When the team traded places and got the 25th pick, many thought it'd be Shedeur Sanders. Instead, Dart became the second QB off the board in the first round. But now that round one has taken some names off the list, there could be some space for Sanders. The NFL shared on its Instagram page a list of potential offensive players for rounds 2 and 3. Sanders is predicted to go as pick number 67 to the Browns as part of an offensive trio. The Athletic also picked the Browns drafting Sanders in round 2, but at the 33rd pick. If Cleveland can use the extra picks it acquired Thursday to fortify its rebuild and give Sanders time to grow, this could be a great fit, the publication wrote. The Browns are already struggling with Deshaun Watson. If Sanders is headed this way, will he be the answer to a team plagued with ill-fated QBs? Cleveland has featured a total of 7 quarterbacks in the 2 seasons, and they're desperate to choose one in the draft. Not one team in conversations linked to Sanders implied the possibility of drafting him. His brother, Deion Sanders Jr., wrote on X the day prior to the draft, "The rejected will be respected." Unfortunately, with the way all these revelations are turning up, it doesn't seem like that's the case. At least not with the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are also a no-go on Shedeur Sanders. The Saints hold the number 9 pick in round 2. And according to new intel, it doesn't seem like Sanders is going there either. In fact, Kellen Moore is not very keen on picking a QB in the first place. Insider Lindsey Theory told ESPN, the Saints' mindset going into this quarterback search is that they might not have a franchise quarterback available to pick. But they know that Kellen Moore can sometimes do more with less. They're not going to force the issue. She also knew that the question of the hour was whether the team was keen on getting Sanders. Theory firmly said, "No, I do not expect for the Saints, based on conversations I'm having right now, to select Shedeur Sanders." The draft process is becoming increasingly difficult for him. The situation is so grim that even the Saints, whose starting QB is down, Derek Carr, are not going to draft the Colorado QB. The doors seem to be closing one by one upon the Sanders legacy bearer. With experts' fears of Sanders slipping out of round 1 coming true, the Colorado QB's hopes are seeming to dampen a bit. Just yesterday, a blistering review of his character came from an NFL scout. Word around is that his attitude can be a reason why his prospects are slipping despite his putting in a great season in 2024. Is that haughty attitude going to be the final nail in his NFL career? Round 2 is still teeming with lots of QB prospects. Can Sanders pull off the unthinkable and outshine them all to be drafted in his second chance?